Part 1.
You will hear a woman asking a sales assistant about insurance policies. Before you listen again, you have 30 seconds to read questions 1 to 6.
Good morning. Take a seat. I see you've picked up some of our brochures.
Yes, I've been reading the one on travel.
Would the travel insurance be for you or for your family as well?
Just for me.
So, individual.
That's right.
Are you looking for a basic or a comprehensive policy?
To be honest, I've had basic in the past, but it didn't pay out very much.
That's often true. With our company, you can be insured for different amounts. For instance, in Section 1, Baggage and Personal Effects, you can be insured for all 5 subsections or for as few as 2.
I think I'd like insurance for all 5 since I'm going to some unsafe places.
Wise decision.
By the way, can a camera be counted as a single item, or must it be included in cameras and portable electronic equipment?
If you have an expensive camera, you can nominate it as a single item. Our maximum payout is $1,500. Occasionally, people have their camera and computer stolen together. If insurance is only taken out on subsection 2, this may not cover the replacement of both things.
That's what happened with my previous policy. However, in that one, there was a higher limit for lost or stolen money. Yours is only $700.
These days, with credit cards, people don't carry much cash, so we've set the limit accordingly. Still, we pay out well for documents.
Indeed. In the disrupted travel section, reasonable costs is written for a missed connection or an early return instead of an amount of money. What exactly are reasonable costs?
Put it this way. If you miss your flight due to poor weather that is verifiable, we pay $300 per day of lost time. If you arrive at check-in as the aircraft is leaving because you overslept, we still pay out, but only $100 a day. We rely on information from the airline to determine this.
Before you listen to the rest of the conversation, you have 30 seconds to read questions 7 to 10.
Are you also interested in vehicle insurance?
Yes, I am. I'm about to buy a nice old car, a vintage Jaguar XJ6.
Hey, I used to have one of those, although nowadays I prefer old motorbikes. Did you know you can insure a vehicle on its own, or you can include it in our multi-saver policy, along with your house and contents?
Yes, I saw that. It's true I'm buying an expensive car, but I rent my house, so I'm not ready for multi-saver.
I understand. Have you decided which level of cover you'd like for your car?
Top cover.
Are you sure? It is pricey.
I know, but last time I had insurance, I wasn't covered for storm damage.
Don't tell me that was just before the November hailstorm.
Uh-huh. So I need storm damage insurance. Also, I'd like my policy to start as soon as I've paid for it. With my old one, there was a stand-down period of 2 weeks. Would you believe I backed into a wall just 3 days after I'd taken out the policy?
Oh, dear.
Then, I spent months fighting with the insurance company over the value of my car. I know it wasn't worth much, but it was relatively new.
If you choose top cover, we agree on a value for your car and renegotiate each year to avoid disputes. Again, it's not as cheap as some, but the policy works out better in the long run.
That is the end of Part 1. You now have 1 minute to check your answers to Part 1.
Section 2. You will hear a man introducing a charity to a group of listeners. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 16. Hello everyone, thanks for attending tonight's event. Let me start with the early history of our charity, iSaver. iSaver was founded by retired optometrist Timothy Gaines. I have spent much of my working life at iSaver. I am 60 years old now, and I started working for this organisation 15 years ago, when I left a corporate position to help people with eye problems. Now our charity has been helping people for 3 decades. You may know that we are now doing various other things to help people with eye problems. That includes medications for children with eye diseases and operational help to those in the public who have eye problems. But when Mr. Gaines just founded iSaver, he wanted the program to be able to offer common eye equipment to those who needed it. We receive occasional donations from corporations and charity groups. Now we have over 1,500 volunteers who work on the streets with the little red donation boxes which many of you are familiar with, and this is the main source of funding for us. Besides, we are planning to work to secure donations from wealthy benefactors. Many people are passionate about charity cause and have been inquiring how to donate money to us. I really appreciate that. But our main need is to collect glasses for our patients. Many of you have multiple pairs of old glasses in your possession, and we encourage you to gather these pairs which you no longer need and donate them to our cause. In doing this, you'll be able to make sure that someone else can see better. Most of us cannot imagine a life in which we are unable to see well. This is why your eyeglass donations are so critical to our mission. And, as a side note, we offer full-time positions. Let me know if you are interested. Our goal is to make people aware that even the smallest of donations can help change a person's life. So, your donation can be a turning point for them. The other day, when I was talking to some people on the street, they were surprised to find out how easily some eye problems can be cured. And I am proud to say that our next program will aim at educating people about common eye diseases. We are able to prevent many fatal eye problems. In order to publicize our charity program, we surely need to do some advertising. When we first started our program, we used computers to create awareness for our cause. For instance, promoting seminars in which we informed people as to how they could help us to solve eye problems. But in recent years, the main means of advertising our program is through audio recordings. We have found it cost-efficient and effective. It's good to know that many of our staff are recommending our program to their friends and colleagues, but I am afraid that our training cannot show people the whole picture of our program. Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 17 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 17 to 20. Finally, I would like to tell you about some organisations which have played important roles in the development and success of iSaver. Our affiliation with the National Vision Funding Group has allowed us to gain fame and to become even more significant. So, many people around the country are coming for our services. Our association with the Eye for the Future organisation has allowed us to run cooperative ads by which we seek producers of equipment to work with us. Meanwhile, some of our staff has been sent to this organisation for some special training. Their skills should be improved very soon. Also, we have had a long-time cooperation with Sam's Eye Care Institution. Our relationship with it has given us the opportunity to link with many different academic institutions, including colleges and universities with good reputation. And we have a similar friendship with a group called Youth Health. Our connection with that group allows us to link directly with young kids, since this is a crucial stage in their growth. We plan to contact with some colleges and hope that with their help, more college students could get to know our program. So, as you can see, we have all bases covered in linking with students, as we have affiliations directly with both administrators and the students themselves. Thank you so much for your attention today. As we try to stamp out eye problems, we will appreciate your donations, no matter how large or how small. We believe, with our efforts, the world will be a brighter and more beautiful. That's the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 3.
Part 3.
Study options. You will hear a professor talking to her student about his study options. Before you listen, you have 30 seconds to read questions 21 to 24.
Come in, Rangi.
Thank you, Professor Anderson.
I've been meaning to contact you, but I just got back last night.
Where have you been?
Conferences in Massachusetts and New York.
For physics?
Yes.
Great. I'm looking forward to attending conferences one day.
I imagine that won't be so far away. I was extremely impressed with your classical mechanics exam. In fact, you were one of only 2 students out of 180 to get an A+.
Wow, I really did enjoy the course.
So how can I help you?
I'm sorry to say it's a bit of a long story. You see, I've had to rethink my studies completely, and I wonder if I'm making the right decision.
You're doing 2 degrees, aren't you? Science and arts.
I was doing 2. I've decided to focus on science.
Oh?
It all came about because I wanted to study abroad for a year. I was thinking about Edinburgh. Firstly, I sought approval from the maths and physics departments. I wanted to take quantum mechanics and computer simulations at Edinburgh.
Those are third-year courses, right?
Yeah. So I received approval from maths and physics. The stumbling block was the higher authority, the science faculty. When I submitted my application, it was rejected.
What?
It turns out that students who study abroad for a year can only do first or second year courses or third year courses in a subject that's not their major.
I've never heard that before.
Needless to say, the lecturers who approved my transfer hadn't either, and nor does the regulation appear on the science faculty website.
That'd be right. This faculty is disorganised.
So then I thought I'd take arts courses at Edinburgh and leave the third year maths until I came back. I quickly got approval for second year history and philosophy from the arts faculty.
When are you heading off?
That's just it. During this process, I began to think carefully about my studies. To be honest, the arts courses I've done were less challenging than the science ones, so I've decided to drop arts.
Before you listen to the rest of the conversation, you have 30 seconds to read questions 25 to 30.
Where do I figure in all this?
The first week after I'd made my decision, I felt fine. Without doing the arts courses, I could finish my science degree earlier. But this week, I've had some doubts. When I started the 2 degrees, lecturers in the science faculty assured me that these days scientists need a rounded education, which they get if they take some arts courses. I was even told I'd learn to write and think better if I did philosophy.
I do think the claims made by some lecturers are dubious.
Then there's the fact that now I'm going to be stuck here next year. I was so excited about going to Europe.
It is disappointing to give that up. Still, the reason I wanted to contact you, Rangi, is that I'm looking for students to work 6 hours a week in my lab. It's paid work, not highly paid, but probably better than working in a bar. Also, we've just bought a new laser, which you'd learn to use.
That sounds excellent.
As to going abroad, why not do your postgraduate studies in the US? There's some amazing physics being done in Massachusetts. If you like, I can send you the papers from the conference.
Thanks.
Of course, I'd be sad to lose you if you did go abroad, but an A+ student like you has a very good chance of winning a major scholarship.
Goodness, I've never even considered that.
Personally, I think committing yourself to science is the way to go.
Thanks, Professor Anderson. You've taken a load off my mind. Now I don't have to deal with Hegel or Leibniz. I've plenty of time to read those conference papers.
That is the end of part 3. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to part 3.
Sea creature called leatherback turtle. Jelly the Vatican, a Florida Atlantic University, has shown that there are advantages of the leatherback's streamlined shape. Swimming leatherback turtles have a lower drag, more efficient than other species, indicating more efficient force. To swim at the same distance to other sea turtles of the comparable size and weight, leatherback turtles spend on average 20% less energy. Among all the deep-diving animals, the champions have always been assumed to be the marine mammals, the great whales, and the airless seals. Our recent investigations, however, suggest that leatherback sea turtles may also be ranked among the ocean's greatest air-breathing dive reptiles. While measuring the dives of the leatherback sea turtles near St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands, scientists recorded a 650-pound female that sank to more than 3,330 feet and remained there for 37 minutes. High pressure also poses a challenge to the deep diver in terms of strong forces that could compress the chest, causing broken bones or tissue damage. Unlike its hard-shelled relatives, leatherbacks has a softer shell made up from widely separated ribs embedded in a thick tissue, and the whole structure is overlaid with a leathery skin. How do the deep-diving animals, whales, seals, penguins, and leatherback turtles avoid decompression sickness and other hazards while they dive to the great depths, even sleep for a long period of time? Many of the deepest diving marine mammals have a small lungs and forcefully exhale before diving. In addition to reducing the buoyancy so that they can dive more easily, this severely limits the amount of nitrogen in their bloodstream. One reason the leatherback ranges so far may be its specialized diet. This giant of the sea feeds mainly on jellyfish, full of high protein, and other useful minerals that they require during the day. Although the variety of jellyfish and related prey are abundant, they are eaten by few other animals. As one might suspect, a life spent eating mostly jellyfish requires some special adaptations to make the job easier. During the 1984 and 1985 nesting seasons, with the assistance of scientists attached recorders to 10 female leatherbacks that just laid eggs. As a result, we are able to monitor the pattern of migration in the Atlantic Ocean when they return to the sea. Some of the longest travel recorded for many animals have been made by this marine turtle. In 1970, a female leatherback was tagged when she nested in Surimi on the northeast coast of South America. Less than 1 year later, she was captured off the coast of Ghana, West Africa, having traveled 3,700 miles across the Atlantic Ocean. Upon returning to the surface, the turtles changed a quick breath and immediately headed straight down again. Little or no time was given to sleep or rest. We then began to track and tag the turtles when they swim back to the surface. On closer examination, we noticed a difference in dives depending on the time of the day. Night dives were shallower with less in-depth than day dives. Leatherbacks are such swimmers that they rarely stop moving, a behavior that has made it impossible to keep them in captivity. The front flippers are more than half the length of the turtle's body and generate power from huge muscles, which can account for 30% of the animal's total body weight. Since leatherbacks cannot easily be studied in captivity, researchers have been developing methods of studying them at sea. They used a recorder, an instrument capable of recording location and depths in the sea, developed by Gerald Kuhlman of the Psychological Research Laboratory. The device has been used to study diving marine animals. While they keep diving, scientists soon realized that the turtles were probably costing much of their energy to follow their food source. In tropical waters, jellyfish are most common at great depths, in a biological zone called the deep scattering layer. Discovered shortly after development of the sonar, this zone consists of a layer of zooplankton that hovers below 1,800 feet during the day and migrates to the surface at night.